Alright, YouTube, what's going on? I just wanted to make a quick video. I know I look like shit. I'm hungover. I'm tired. It's really early in the morning. It's starting to rain. I don't know if you can hear that. But I honestly, okay, so I just listened to Armored Skeptic and I just listened to Andy Warski's videos on Franchesca Ramsey and how she kind of duped them and then kind of just threw them all under the bus, kind of a thing. And I don't know, it just really annoyed me, and I just wanted to say a few things about it. Like, essentially, I'm kind of not surprised by what she did, because that kind of behaviour is indicative of someone like Franchesca Ramsey and where she gets to in life. Like, the reason she got to a position where she could be on MTV Decoded and have her own little web channel that's backed by, like, corporate money is because she is one of those types of people. Like, you only get into those positions if you're a bit of a backbiter and a bit of a ruthless cunt, basically. I think like a lot of the like Andy Warski and Armored Skeptic are kind of like, they. I wanted to call them nice guys. I mean, I think they have their moments where they can be fairly scathing, but ultimately, I don't think they're like cut from like evil cloth or anything like that. I think they're fairly, okay guys. Um, you know, and I don't think they've ever come up against something like that. I don't think they actively go out and do that in life. Like, I don't think they go out and instinctively and purposefully manipulate situations and, like, to either... Sorry, my dog's down there. Um, it, you know, I don't think they actively go out and try and do stuff like that, but I think if you listen to that podcast that both Armored Skeptic and Andy both cite for why they've having problems with Franchesca Ramsey now. If you look at what she's saying about it all, like, and what she said to them, it's pretty obvious to me that that is something that she is pretty aware of. Like, she actively goes out into the world and manipulates situations to further herself. And that's all she ever cares about. That's why she keeps projecting that all these people want is money, because that's all she wants. She doesn't actually care about the things that she's talking about. She doesn't care about online harassment. She doesn't care about racism. She doesn't care about any of this shit. That's why she doesn't actually address anybody's talking points, because she doesn't even actually think about her own talking points really that deeply. I think she says what people want to hear, or what she perceives people want to hear, and then just runs with it. I don't think she actually wants to debate anyone, because if she debated anyone, it would come out pretty quickly that she actually doesn't really have much of an idea of what it is that she's talking about. I think it's pretty obvious when on that podcast as well. I mean, the way that she talks about everything is very surface level. It's very telling that she doesn't try to hold two positions at one time. She doesn't go, I think these guys are like this, but I think it's bad that they're doing this, or blah blah blah. There's a way to talk about things where you sound reasonable, and or at least like you've thought about something, like, or even that you're thinking about it at the time that you're talking about it. She doesn't exhibit any of those behaviours whatsoever. She's obviously a bit of a compulsive liar as well. I think, I don't know if she's a compulsive liar, but because she's a manipulator, she does lie, essentially. I don't know if that's a compulsive liar, but she does it, because a compulsive liar would do it with no rhyme or reason. They would just lie for the hell of it. Now, she does it to manipulate, so in a way, it's actually kind of a little bit worse. I don't know. But I just wanted to say that I think, it's unfortunate that Andy and Armored Skeptic got caught up with somebody like that. Unfortunately, I mean, like, when you look at Lacey Green, for instance, I think Lacey Green is someone who tries to be as honest as possible, and I don't think she does go out of her way to manipulate these situations. Like, I think it's very... if you look at how Franchesca Ramsey behaves on that podcast, and then if you look at how Lacey Green behaves in, like, I don't know, Blair White's debate with her, it's like night and day. It's completely different. The way Lacey Green acts is so much more natural. The way that Franchesca Ramsey acts is like it's like she's snowballing her behaviour once she tags on that somebody's accepting it. So as soon as, like, she says something like, "Oh well, these anti-SJWs, well, they're just unfit people, and they're not good looking, and blah blah blah, and whatever." And when the guy's egging her on, she's getting worse and worse and worse as she goes along with what she's saying. And it was the same when they were talking to Ahmed Skeptic and Andy. They'd say something. They'd say something along the lines of, "Oh, not sure. We interact with our communities in a different kind of way, and blah blah blah," and giving her their honest opinions about how they interact with whatever they do, and then she's essentially snowballing with what they're saying and, like, kind of bigging them up, and then starting to the point where it's that she's, like, feeling like she's got them in the palm of their hand, and she's calling them friend and all this stuff, again, to manipulate them into doing what she kind of planned for them, in a way, which is, again, to essentially bring them on board so she can get more money. It's not because she wanted to. I mean, like, Ahmed Skeptic and everyone thought it was to do with policing people or policing ideas and whatever, but that's not really the full spectrum of it. Ultimately, all she cares about is money. And if she gets successful YouTubers like Andy and Ahmed Skeptic, who Ahmed Skeptic gets regularly over 1 million views on his videos, regularly. Andy gets maybe less than that, like maybe we're talking 200 to 500,000 views a video. Still fairly significant, but he is also a well-known name, though. That is the other thing. Like, he may not have quite the subscriber base or the viewership as Ahmed Skeptic, but he is a well-known name. He is a name that is spoken about by a lot of different YouTubers. So it's not like... So he has a lot of influence. And if she took those people and brought them onto MTV Decoded, you know that shit would blow up. That shit would blow up massively. And she knows that. And she knew that she would get a lot of money for that. So that is what it is. Like, everything that she says is... it's in between the lines. When a lot of what she says is projection of what she wants, and I'm saying this now, like, for definite, because I've just met people like this. I've met so many people like this in my life. I mean, it's part of, like, being in a religion. Growing up Mormon, you meet people like this a lot. People who are very religious. In fact, I'm not even going to put it out there. I was like that as a kid. I was like a golden religious boy, as one thing, and I'd say all the right things in church or when I was around church people, and then as soon as I wasn't, I was being someone else with my friends that weren't in church, and it's a similar kind of behaviour. I mean, I kind of grew out of all that. Like, I stopped going to church. I grew out of all that kind of thing. But I saw it in church. I noticed it. I noticed it because I was doing it too. So I hated that side of it, and that's why I left doing that. Whereas she is basing her whole career off it. I mean, in a way, I could have done the same. I could have been Golden Boy. I could have got employed with the church. They actually do that. You get paid to work within the church. Fairly good money as well. And all the while, I could have just not believed any of it and just said the right things, and gotten a good wage, and just had to do, to be honest with you, probably minimal shit a lot of the time. And it, like, yeah, it just, to me, that is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing from her. And to be honest with you, there's no point trying to be nice about it. Franchesca Ramsey is a bit of a dick. There's no two ways about it. She knows it too, I think. She knows it too, but she also... because of her fucking the way that she views the world, she has to keep a facade of a good person. That's why she's fallen on the side of these social justice warriors, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. That's why she's fallen on that particular spectrum of thought, is because she views it as the way in which she can maintain a visage of a good person. She looks at anti-SJWs and all this kind of stuff, or whatever they are, skeptics, whatever they are. She views them as bad people for having different opinions, even if they haven't actually said bad things. Just for even opposing or even questioning her opinion, that makes them a bad person. Now that says a lot about how she views the world. It really does. And you've got to watch out for when people make those distinctions, because you look at someone like Andy Warski or I'm a Skeptic, or even most of the people involved in this stuff, they don't outright say, because you're an SJW, you're a bad person. They point at individual people. They point at very individual people like Franchesca Ramsey or whoever the fuck it is, Anita Sarkeesian or something, and say, this person is terrible because they're perpetuating certain things, right? Whereas you get people like Franchesca Ramsey and Anita Sarkeesian who do not go after individual people. They say, having this opinion makes you a bad person. That says a lot about how they operate. And honestly, these people are just manipulators. That's all they are. And they've gotten to the position where they are now because there's a lot of people out there who do think these are good ideas, and they're not inherently bad ideas. A lot of this stuff that falls on the SJW side of things are good intention things, you know what I mean? That's why it's so easy to think of like this spectrum of thought of the SJW or whatever as being so good and so virtuous and whatever, because it feels so good on paper. You can say, hey, yeah, I'm for transgender rights and all that kind of stuff, which I am, but then you get the kind of detail where it's like, oh well, there's like 92 genders or whatever the fuck it is now, and then you're like, oh well, wait a minute, maybe that's a bit of an excess. You know, for transgender rights, but isn't this just getting a bit ridiculous now? Because how are we ever going to keep up with this kind of thing? Shouldn't we try and simplify it down or whatever? Even just saying that apparently now makes you a bad person or transphobic. Even though that is a discussion that's going on within the LGBT community right now, and in the trans community right now, that is a conversation that's being had, but just because I'm not necessarily a huge part of that, I just can't have an opinion or even say about it. No one else can. Which is obviously ridiculous, because we're all people and we all live in this world together. Therefore, we should be able to have those discussions with each other. As long as we're all being reasonable about it. But that's just my thoughts on it. I don't know if I'm 100% correct on this, but this is just all the things I was thinking when I was here. I've literally just finished listening to it now. I was literally walking home from a friend's house. Stayed at a friend's last night. I got drunk, got high. I'm here now, and I'm hungover. But honestly, I know I'm a bit late as well to the party on this. I know these videos were brought out like a week ago or something, but I just couldn't be asked to listen to them straight away. To be honest, they're a bit long. I just did it because I was walking, so I thought, fuck it, I'll listen to them while I'm walking home. And yeah, this is just what I thought about it. I honestly thought it was just utter bullshit what was going on, and I think I just wanted to kind of expose her in a way, because I've met people like this. I've studied psychology quite a lot. I'm not qualified or anything like that, so don't. I'm no fucking Jordan Peterson over here, but I like to think I have some kind of grasp of it. I've met a lot of people in my life. I've had a very weird life, and I'll probably do some videos about my life, because I think it's actually fairly remarkable. I don't want to say that in a like a narcissistic way, although I don't know, I guess inherently it is, but I think that like I've had a particularly strange life. I can take a step back and look at my life and go, yeah, it's kind of weird. So I think it's worth commenting on. So I'll make a few videos on that, but the reason that I feel like I have some kind of authority to speak on how Francesca Ramsey is, and how she's been behaving, is because I've experienced it from other people. I've been that person myself. I've also done extensive research on different ways that people interact and can manipulate and things like that. I've done extensive research on narcissists and psychopaths, other things like that. Just because I'm morbidly curious like that. I've always fascinated by what goes on in people's heads. Like, you know, it's a part of the reason why I think YouTube is so cool, because it does give a platform to people to just kind of say shit. And I think that's really actually quite valuable, even if it does devolve into YouTube drama and stuff like that at times and whatever. You know, and a lot of the time it can be very vacuous on YouTube, but I think it also is very important that it reflects certain aspects of our psychology, and I think that's really fascinating and important. So, big up YouTube. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll leave it there. But yeah, I'm not chilling with Franchesca Ramsey. She does my head in. She's a fucking idiot. She's a manipulative person, and you know, a lot of these people like Google and whatever, who are not really on the thumb of things, like they go to people, MTV and whatever, these executives, they don't really know what's going on. They're doing the same thing that Franchesca Ramsey's doing, and they're just looking at what can be perceived as the good person thing. We'll go with that trend. That's all it is. It's not because MTV actually gives a shit about women's rights or anything like that, or I don't know, racial rights, civil rights, whatever the fuck it is. They don't care at all about any of that kind of stuff. None of these corporations do. I think that's something we really need to understand right now. Whether it's left-wing media, right-wing media, it doesn't matter which media source you're getting it from. MTV, fucking Salon, whatever the fuck it is. None of these people actually care about what they talk about. And the reason why you know this is because they've never, ever actually gone out of the way, other than writing articles and stuff like that. They've never, ever actually gone out of their way in their lives to actually create any kind of progress. All they've ever done is continue down the divisive pathway of dividing people up. They've never actually made good on building bridges. They've only ever been burning them. And if that is why you know they don't care. Because they'll just carry on with trends. They don't actually care about having discussions. So anyway, that's my rant over. Sorry, I'm rambling now. So that's my rant over. Sorry if it's weird or whatever, or maybe it didn't make sense. Sorry, it's getting on for like nearly 20 minutes now, so I'll stop. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a like, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Do you think my observations are correct? I don't know. Hit me up. Hit me up. Give me the likes. Give me the subscribes. You know how it is. You know what I like. You know, I'm freestyling, spitballing. I'm coming through. I'm rickrolling. Because I'm never going to give you up. Never ever going to give you up. Oh my god, it's too early for this shit. Okay, thanks for listening. Have a good day.